All right, boom. We are a go. Big Daddy Momo brought on to Jesse on Fire's channel so that we can discuss this harrowing tale of domestic abuse that Mackenzie Dern talked about. I figured I would get a female viewpoint of this so that I don't just completely sound like the most insensitive prick on earth when I say I don't believe her. I don't believe her. I don't believe her. But so you've taken a look, huh?
I have. I took a look into what was going on, and so far it's just allegations.
Mhm.
There's no there isn't any concise evidence or anything like that. Her husband is denying everything, which a lot of people do. Whether it happens or not. I'll be honest. People be doing stuff and denying it all the time, so you don't really know what's going on. But it was surprising to me to hear because as I was doing the research and reading into what happened, she said that she was worried that she was going to be taken to the police. And that was the main reason why she didn't say anything. But what I'm confused about is what evidence would someone have to take you to the police unless there is some sort of reactive abuse as well or something going the other way. So that's the only thing where I'm like, well, initially I can understand, you know, uh, being nervous to step out on your family or feel like you're abandoning your family or something like that. I get that. But it was interesting to me to hear that she was afraid that the police would turn on her, which it can't
She's
happen.
worried. She's worried that he's going to use the fact that she's an MMA fighter
Right.
to make himself the victim and then take her kids. It's as simple as that. Like, and she makes that very clear. And then also another thing I wanted to just like I said this on the video that I'm uploading right now on my main channel, but I wanted to throw this out there just so that because I think it is very notable
Right.
that right here, it's like, this is his quote. I've never physically attacked Mackenzie. She's an MMA fighter. I would never even try to get physical with her. I would have no chance. So note that. And then also note that in the court, Mackenzie Dern was ruled the primary earner opposite the stay-at-home parent, Santos.
Mm,
Now, I said this in the other one, and I'll say it again. I'm not bringing that up to emasculate the guy,
fair.
but
Yeah.
I will say that is an unnatural situation for the girl to know that she can whip her husband's fucking ass and then simultaneously she's the one making all of the money. And so like the fact that they had challenges in their marriage is extraordinarily unsurprising to me just based on those two facts out of the gate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, like she's, everything that she says here is, well, she actually states in plain English that she filed an order of protection. You know what? Let's get into the details of this really quick. Okay. So like right here, uh, okay. So 1 month before the event, Dern traded domestic violence accusations with Santos amid a custody fight over their 3-year-old daughter, Moa, in court, according to court documents. Among other allegations, Dern accused Santos of repeated physical and emotional abuse, once slamming a door on her leg as he was allegedly dragging her into the house during a fight. Okay. So we'll talk about, I want to talk about that in a second, but then also in April, 1 month after Santos asked the court for custody of Moa, she filed a petition for domestic violence restraining order attaching videos of one alleged incident of abuse in which he, wait for it, threw her phone, water bottles, pillows, and bedding while harassing and intimidating her verbally.
Well,
So the two things I wanted to say about that is, number one, she filed for a protective order 1 month after he tried to take her kids.
right.
So you could certainly see that as like a response to that, which is understandable, dude. You go after someone's kids, I would say kind of all bets are off. But also, the best she got on I need protection was he threw her phone, water bottles, bedding, and pillows. So that's, I mean, and to me, whenever I hear someone threw another person's phone, where does my brain go? What's in the phone? Why is
Right.
he throwing your phone? You know what I
Well,
mean?
but also what is in a bedding or a water bottle, If it's true, I'm so sorry.
Well, what's not in betting are text messages from another dude like, man, that was awesome hanging out last week when your husband was out of town. You know what I mean?
I mean, but is it a possibility? Look, anything is a possibility. But
Mm-hmm.
for what we know, if this is true, although phones, it was it thrown at her? There's not enough information. Was it thrown at her? Was it just
Okay.
thrown at the wall? Was it thrown at the kid? Was it thrown at the dogs? We don't know. The problem is that all this is just her saying stuff and we don't know. And he's refraining from saying anything other than it didn't happen, which it could be true. Now, your point, what you brought up earlier, where it's an unnatural setting, absolutely, it's unnatural. She probably could whoop a lot of dudes' ass.
For
She's a
sure.
tough woman, like to
The
say the
world champion at jiu-jitsu, and she implied in her interview that he held her down. Held her down? Yeah, fucking right. She's a
least.
jiu-jitsu world champion. You put your hands on her and hold her down, she's gonna armbar you in a millisecond.
So that is where I'm on board with you for sure. Where it's like, okay, so there's a threat coming at you and you're unable to at least, and in jiu-jitsu, what do they teach you, right? To de-escalate right away. Like your main thing, what you're trying to do is to de-escalate the situation, get out of that, or at least restrain someone so you don't get injured, right? You're not going in there looking to start a fight. You're not looking to beat someone's ass. You're not doing anything like that. You can, but initially you want to de-escalate. So the idea that she struggled with this is kind of difficult for me when she's on a completely different level than playing field than he is. So, and if we're talking if we're talking about someone who's your average female who has no prior training, that I can 100% believe. Men
Of
are
course.
bigger, more muscle mass, all of that goes into it. We're not, we can't be delusional here. These are facts. So, in that case, yes. However, she is an exception to the rule, which makes me think how much of this, one, can be true, and two, say it is true, whether or not there's something called reactive abuse, which say she could be abused, right? She could be. A lot of times victims will start becoming abusive back in ways that, whether it's defensive or sometimes they're no longer in an immediate threat, but because of what they've been through, they become abusive back. So now, is that a possibility? And maybe she is worried that there's some evidence of that and he could use that against her. Maybe, but a lot of times people don't want to admit to being reactively abusive. They just don't, because then it
Mhm.
looks like it's no longer just a very easy victim versus abuser situation. So, but it's definitely interesting to hear this from her. Now, sometimes I think to myself, could it be possible that, yeah, she was abused and maybe maybe, she didn't retaliate back and she was embarrassed because she's this big MMA fighter, this big, hotshot female who can break anyone's arm or put them in a lock and, she has these titles and she's, at the top of her game. Possibly, because it could be she's embarrassed that she maybe didn't defend herself the way she should have.
I mean, that is what she said in her interview. The thing is, she didn't even accuse him of that, though. Like you know what I mean? Like she hasn't. Like the only thing that she's said is that yes, there was domestic abuse, and then you're like, but no one's like, okay, so what exactly did he do? Because she she made this like, you know what? Like here's like if we play it again, what she said was it was like slippery, or it was like she's like, like if he were to hold me down or to try to punch me, and it's like, all right,
Right,
so you definitely did not say that he did that. You know what I
right,
mean? But
right.
like,
Aside from the objects being thrown, there was no consent. Oh, or the door being hit, or he
yeah, what
dragged.
do you think about that?
I don't know how. I don't know how he could drag her.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not. Let's just assume that whole, like, just for
Yeah, yeah.
argument's sake, let's say every bit of what she said is 100% true. Now, what do you think about that?
If it comes out that everything is 100%
Just
true,
about the door thing, about the door, like that incident, what she said about the door thing.
I
Tell me your
think
thoughts on that.
I mean, someone slamming a door in your on your there's going to be some bruising, there's going to be some pain. There's what I'm thinking is why I don't know. It's hard for me to
Does a
think
person
about.
slam a door on a person's leg on purpose, or is that something that happened incidentally?
You got it. I mean, it could be on purpose. It could, but you have to be in a position where you're sticking your leg in the doorway or trying to get in and someone might be trying to keep you out. Or you know what I mean? Like it's someone coming in and someone's trying to keep you out, so they're shutting the door on your leg. It's
That's possible. It's
it's
possible that if he's trying to keep her out,
right.
that would
That's
make
what
sense.
I'm thinking because if you're how are you pulling someone in but also shut you could just tuck your legs in. So cuz
Well,
I'm trying
clearly,
to
like it seems like he's trying to either pull her into the house and close the door, or keep her out and close the door, and her leg is in the doorway. Like that sounds like a thing that happens by accident. So, I mean, that's my case. And here's another thing I wanted to show you actually really quick.
right.
Okay, so here's one other thing is I look at Mackenzie Dern's Instagram, right? And I just gauge, like if you look at a person, like just kind of take a look at them when they, I don't know, like how much of this you do,
Right.
but I look at Mackenzie Dern like when she's out partying and she looks like someone who is capable of getting blitzed, you know?
Oh, she's getting
Like
lit.
she looks like look at it. Hang on. Okay, like
Oh,
this
let's
picture.
see
Hold
what's
up.
going on.
Like
I mean, yeah, I mean, she's studied in Brazil for so long, and you know what? Brazil is known to have a good time, you
well,
know?
that's the proper 12 one. But there are all these pictures of hers with her friends at Carnival where I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah,
she's having a good time.
for sure, for sure. A lot of these fighters, they really take their, downtime and enjoy
They should.
and partying as they should, and big culture in Brazil are like the carnivals and all these big festivals and all these partying, and she was there for a very long time.
She's
So
a smoke too, dude.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, she's fine. She's definitely fine.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
interesting when I was listening to her, to the interview, she was, talking about what happened and she was, talking about what happened and, giving her statements or whatnot. I didn't realize how heavy of an accent she got over the years. I know it's a different topic, but I was like, "Dang,
wait, you've never seen the like
I
her
have,
evolving, yeah.
I have, but not recent like, I saw the video of her evolving, but recently, I'm like, "Are you still sticking with this?" Like
Well, like honestly, when I was watching that, I was like, it seems like now her accent is kind of devolving back to American. So
but she's still struggling with English, which I was
struggling with English thing is absolutely ludicrous.
I was like,
Like,
"You know the words, like, stop playing."
yeah, but I will say this. I did a video where I was pretty fucking hard on her about that. And then people reached out to me and they were like, listen, they're like, so and then if I am only speaking the other language for 2 years, they're like, it just kind of happens like where you like, you'll develop an accent, like you like stop remembering how to speak English and like, so I don't know. I'm not necessarily in a position to
Yeah.
say anything. I do have a very hard time believing that you go from absolutely stone fluent English to like, uh, and this, like it's just,
Yeah, and it's one thing with an accent. Okay, I get it, the way you pronounce things, but to forget a language, come on now. Like, you know what I mean? Your native language, I don't know.
come
Like
on.
it's a little too much.
And you put a translator in the octagon and Rogan's like,
Yeah, yeah.
dude,
Oh
what are you doing?
yeah. So, well, here maybe not to like look into things. But if she has some sort of like history of I don't want to say like acting or making things up, I'm not saying it. I don't want to jump to conclusions or accuse anyone of anything. But if it seems like, all right, this person may believe things that aren't true, like that she no longer knows English.
Yeah.
How far are we from the possibility that she could perhaps be exaggerating the truth in this situation?
Well, I think I'm like, if I had to bet, I would. Good God, look at this picture of her, dude. Not bad, Mackenzie Dern.
Yes.
But but I'm saying for if I like I think that she for sure is exaggerating would be my guess. I think that if you read into the incidents, it sounds like they obviously did not have a good relationship. Clearly, they're getting divorced. Didn't sound like the relationship was good. They're and the other thing, she accused him of hitting their dog. It's like, well, yeah, that's how you fucking discipline a dog, It's like, it's one thing if it's like, oh, he put my dog in the fucking washing machine. You're like,
Right.
Jesus, what a psycho. But it's like,
Right.
you slap a dog around. That's like how you teach a dog not to do things,
Like, what do you mean? How are you not raising your kids the same way?
Exactly. Like, it's exactly. It's like, well, he hit my kid. You're all define hit the kid. It's like
Yeah,
he
fine.
spanked my kid once after they dumped water out of the bathtub. You're all, well, I mean,
I know. That's just good parenting.
it sounds like semantics, like that's what all of it sounds like. It sounds like semantics, but at the exact same time, so have you ever been close to someone who's gone through a divorce who has kids?
I have actually, and it's one of the toughest things.
Gnarly.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah.
And they could be people who have a really, not obviously not a good enough relationship to stay married, but like it gets so nasty because it's like, you like no one wants to go through
No.
some like nightmarish scenario between you and your former spouse. At the very least, at one time you love them and you want to have a good relationship for your kids.
Right.
But it's like there's this little moment in between where getting divorced and when you could potentially have a good relationship where all of a sudden you get thrown into this situation where you have one person as an advocate and then the other person as an advocate. They're not talking to each other anymore. And the attorneys are playing like attorneys do. And so they say things like unfit parent,
Yeah.
and then they say things like domestic violence. And they say, because they'll say whatever to kind of bolster their case. And you're on the other side and you're like, unfit parent,
Right.
fuck you,
Right.
Well,
actually, when I was doing research about Mackenzie's situation, she was claiming that they're trying to say that she's an unfit parent.
Yeah.
Because she takes her kid to her camps.
Absurd.
And she leaves her kids and she goes and she trains and she's part of the UFC, and so she's an unfit mom because, like you said earlier, it's very untraditional and outside of the norm for not only her to be making more, be able to take her husband physically, but now is unavailable in a traditionally maternal way where she's the one that's with the kids all day. It's not likely in this situation. So they're trying to say that she's unfit. And so maybe in who knows if these allegations are true, okay, but if they're not, maybe she feels like if she exaggerates one truth that maybe he's a little bit abusive, then she'll have higher chance of keeping those kids if they're trying to throw those cards at her.
100%. That's exactly what she's doing.
Mom.
That's for sure what she's doing.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, dude, you try to take a kid away from their mom. If the mom wants to spin an event in the direction that makes it most likely that she gets to remain a parent of her kids, I don't give a shit what she says, dude. Like,
Right.
at least if it's true,
Mhm.
she wants to spin it this way. Like, I totally understand. And like, the other thing is in those situations, you end up where logic is out the window, manners are out the window, and this like generic third party who you have no idea what their belief system is or what's important to them, they're going to make the ultimate decision. And so like, if you're a person who has experience in martial arts gyms, then all of us bring our kids there and like let them chill while you train. Like that's not even remotely uncommon at all. And they're safe. They're the safest kids on earth.
Dude, there's toddlers at the MMA gym I go to. Toddlers are coaching. Toddlers are just all over the mats.
Of course.
Wild, and they're just there, and they coach with them, holding them, and they're just constantly there. Yeah. It's totally.
Coach holding a toddler, that's kind of weird. But
I mean, I guess he had to. What was he going to do? He was holding him. He was coaching best he can, but sometimes he was there with the kid,
Yeah, but like kids, they train themselves. They stay after class with the other kids in class, whatever. But but you think about a judge that doesn't understand that world at all.
Right.
And they're like, wait, so the kid's watching their mommy get punched in the face. Oh, this is not a good image for them to see.
Right.
And like I know a person who lives in California, has incredibly strong views about different topics over there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's married now with to another dude, but her ex-husband and then his new wife are absolutely polar opposite from her. Like if it was up to her, she would grab her kids and flee to Mississippi in 2 seconds, but
Right.
she's stuck there. And she's going through the same thing. And there are these things that like she has to be careful of, because he can take what is an incredibly reasonable opinion and go bring it to the judge and be like, you see, she wouldn't even put the jab in the kids. And they could potentially take her kids from her for that. Because, if you get a judge who has shared viewpoints with the, with the ex-husband. And so it's like, it's just a third party deciding that stuff is horrifying.
Yeah, especially like you said earlier, you brought up a good point where they don't understand the nature of the sport. Like it's very easy to look at people who are, punching each other in the face, putting each other in locks, snapping arms, or, like putting people to sleep and then pair that with supposedly an aggressive person in nature. And of course, I mean, you're not going to see your kids. It's just not going to happen. So I can understand that the panic and the kind of state of desperation of I'll do what it takes to make sure that I keep my kids.
It would be so easy if I was the attorney for the other side to argue that. I would just be,
100%.
I would just be like, listen, we're talking about the well-being of the child. And what you want to do is you want to put the child every day in a scenario where they learn. You have a daughter, right? She's a daughter. Mm-hmm. You want her to grow up in an environment where she learns that it's okay for men to hit women. That's right. What she's going to see. Do you spar with men? Yes. So she is going to grow up thinking that men hitting women is acceptable, right, and that violence is okay. It's a bullshit argument completely.
Yeah.
But I know it's a bullshit argument. I could make it sound real good for a nonviolent, idiotic liberal judge that doesn't know shit about anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then they hold your life in their hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, and then how do you, when you're going up against stakes like that, not to say that I empathize with people who are lying about physical abuse or anything like that. But from that standpoint, I can understand that. I can understand doing what it takes if it's like, it's cutthroat, like what we were talking about earlier, when you're going through that and whether or not your kids are going to be with you, it's cutthroat.
You do what you got to do.
Especially with someone who has a fighter mindset, right? It's not only about your physical capabilities, but Mackenzie, the way she thinks is a fighter mindset. She's not going to she doesn't give a shit. She'll do what it takes to make sure she wins. Yeah. So, and if it means, yeah, you know what? He threw some stuff that's abusive, or we got in a fight, no matter whose fault it was, my leg got stuck in the door and he slammed it. All right, abusive, done. And it's we definitely live in the world where now it's believe women first, ask questions later. Yeah. So, and she knows that, and she knows
it's tough for her just because she's a professional fighter. I don't know what that does to that equation. But the other thing too. So, did you see what the outcome was? So the court, I thought this was fascinating. The court did not side with Dern or Santos on allegations of abuse, finding the couple may have engaged in mutual combat during incidents of alleged abuse between them. And then they got ordered joint custody. She pays $4,000 in child support a month, which is not the worst.
And that's what reactive abuse does, right? Where it's both. It's on both parties. And I think that's what she was trying to not settle on. I'm pretty sure she was trying to make sure to not get caught in that because she wanted to have the custody.
Yeah. And he said, when he countered, he said that it was him that was being abused, and he provided a video and pictures of a bloody nose he said was caused by her punch during an alleged incident in the parking lot of a sushi restaurant. I believe that's true. I do.
I didn't know that part.
And then he
Oh,
accused her of beating Moa in a video that she sent to him, and he denied abuse allegations in response. I mean, I don't know about like the video that he sent with Moa, but him having a bloody nose and him
yeah.
saying that she punched him, like she's sake bombing, she gets mad and I could see that all day.
Are there any pictures or photo evidence or video evidence of her having abuse from him? I
No,
don't
she never even said that she never even claimed that there was that kind of, like, she just said the words domestic
dude.
violence, and Ariel walked her into it. Ariel's the one who was like, so were you a victim of domestic abuse? Like, it's in the court records.
Right.
But like I said, I mean, like, dude, the court records say he slammed my foot in a door and he threw pillows around. It's like, that's okay.
Dude, can we just, like, the fact that there is a picture evidence of her husband being abused, how does he not have full custody? Like, imagine the script flipped and she had some video, like, picture evidence, video evidence. She would have 100 most likely had full custody.
She could have played dirty too. She could, I mean, like, I respect that. Like, cause she could have played, think of the number of pictures she has of her face
Oh,
fucked up.
100.
And
Yeah.
she could have just been like, yeah, this is me after whatever. They're all, really?
Yeah.
When was this? They're all, so this was 2 weeks after your fight? She's all, yeah, but it's him that did this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't this girl that punched me in the face 100 times. It's him
Yeah.
that did it.
Well, I don't think I actually don't think she has anything of him hitting her. I don't think
No,
she
I don't know. She didn't even accuse him of it.
Yeah. That's wild. It's wild. I had no idea that it was, and I'm thinking, could she? I mean, I don't know. You really can't say anything about her hitting kids. Who knows?
There's
But
no way to know what that means. He accused her of abuse and then sent a video, and then there's no, like, who knows,
who knows? Yeah, there's so much about who knows. But if there's a
Who
picture,
would take a video of you hitting your own kid? No one.
no, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's insane, man. It's freaking insane. Also, I mean, I as if you're a champion in on a global scale in martial arts, I really doubt you're gonna be afraid to hit someone. Like, just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
there's so much, you thrive on that shit. There's so much adrenaline and power in that where, if you feel like you're gonna be threatened or attacked, it's hard to not respond in a way where you would defend yourself. So the idea that if she was abused, that she never retaliated, I don't believe that. That would be hard to believe.
Agree.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I just can't even imagine what that must be like to be trapped in a relationship where you live together, you have a kid together, so you can't escape, with someone that you have that level of, like, conflict with, where if it's even plausible that you would be calling the police on each other, which happened.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what does that feel like? So you call, you get in that big of a fight, you call the cops come, you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, like, and they're just right there. You're all, hey,
Yeah. Talk about awkward.
It's gotta be the worst, dude.
It's a nightmare. It's something. I mean, but then you to get in a point in this relationship where it's a cycle over and over and over again. And there was a famous MMA case of, oh gosh, what was his name? He was in the UFC reality show. I forgot.
You talking War Machine?
Yes. Thank you.
That's what abuse looks like. That's
Exactly.
like real abuse.
War Machine was your typical, case A scenario, and everything in that made sense. Everything in that made sense. And so when you see, and that was really bad, but even in those situations, it wasn't just like a one time, okay, we got the cops calling us and then you break off. There's so much, like, internalized trauma that you put in these relationships, and it becomes these cycles, and then you get you in a way kind of, you know how to survive in them, right? So even if she's in these situations, she knows how to survive in them, which is probably why she stayed in it for so long. Or he, if he's the one being abused,
I just think that they're the kind of couple that just fought a lot. Like that's my read is they just like
It's
fought a
the-
lot and it got super gnarly. But like, because you think about that War Machine thing, and that was really interesting, like for me to listen to Christy Mack talk about her experience in that relationship, because it was one of those things where you don't need to question whether she's telling the truth. You don't need to speculate about anything. You can just sit there and just listen and be like, what was this like for you? And everything she says, you can just take it as at gospel, And so, and she would say, this would happen, and then he would beat me up. And then every time afterwards, it was like this honeymoon phase, because he would take care of me and he would be trying to win me back. And so it was like the best times of our relationship. Then that would wear off, and then something would happen and he would attack me again. And then it would be like, and you just like, you can understand the cycle and like all the stuff about cutting her off from her family.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Have you seen her testimony? Like her,
I could barely get through it. I got really emotional watching that. That was really tough.
The part where she talked about the Halloween thing where she was wearing the fangs.
Yeah.
And she's like, so I took the fangs out because I knew he was going to hit me and I didn't want him to knock my teeth out. I was like,
also the guy that was with her the night where she almost got killed. Fuck that guy. He just,
I mean, maybe, dude. Like, you didn't know, like, there's no, like, in that situation.
Like, I understand you getting the hell out of there, but damn, call the cops or something. Don't just disappear. Like,
but honestly, there's no reason that he would know that he's like, okay. You catch your girl in bed with a dude, beating the shit out of the guy is par for the course. Like, that's like, as far as he knew, as far as what's that?
They weren't together at that time.
That dude doesn't know that. That's what she told the guy. As far as he knows, War Machine kicks the door down and says like, oh, what, you're in with my girl. Like, as far as he knows, from that moment, how does he know? And War Machine just whips his fucking ass and is choking him and then whatever. And then they stop and he's like, he makes a deal.
Yeah.
Like War Machine's like, you're not going to rat me out. He's like, I'm not going to rat you out. I'm just going to leave.
That's true.
If he had any inclination, like if he had seen War Machine put a hand on her first, then for sure, fuck that guy. But like, if he just thought like, all right, I fucked this guy's girl. I got caught. I didn't know. He whipped my ass and now I leave. Like, because you got to figure if he had any inclination of what was going to happen next, he calls the cops.
I mean, I would hope so. But I feel like a part of me, like, I feel like if you're in that situation and you see how aggressive someone gets with you, you don't have any feeling that, hey, he might also beat the shit out of her. He might also do something really bad to her. Like, doesn't try to. I mean, yeah, and I understand War Machine. Oh my God, he's terrifying. The things he did to this man, he wrecked him, like that. He mauled him. It was so scary. So, but a part of me was like, really, man, you just like got up and walked out, like help this girl. Yeah, poor thing, dude.
I mean, he's in a situation where he thinks he's not sure he's walking out of there. Now, again, if he thought there was any chance that War Machine was going to do to Christy Mack what he did, then the correct play is to go downstairs and come back up and stick a fucking butcher knife in War Machine's neck, Right. But like, I mean, again, like if he had any inclination of what was going to happen, then I agree with you. But I think it's fair to assume he didn't know, because I mean, again, like beating up a dude, especially a dude you just caught in bed with your girl. I mean, but fuck me. Like what more that story, like her face, you're like, and she, I mean, like as soon as I saw that story, I immediately looked up, it's like Christy Mack height, weight, like I'm just curious, how small is this girl?
She's small.
If I remember correctly, I think she's 5'2", 115.
Like, she's there's like nothing to her.
Yeah. Like that is
dude, her face,
she's 5'1", 105.
Oh my God, she's like a fifth grader.
Dude.
So small. Dude, you know what she looked like? Her face, this is going to sound kind of fucked up. But the Lord of the Rings, the orcs, like she was
that's exactly what she looked like.
And swollen. And I'm like, where is your face, dude? It was so awful. It was
he broke her orbital bone. When you see a person's face swell like that, usually it means that they've got a broken orbital or a broken
Yeah.
cheekbone or whatever. Like he broke her face. He knocked out a bunch of her teeth. It's
Jesus.
like,
Holy shit,
you
man.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like
Dude, I
that's
don't know what that was insane. That was insane.
5'1", 105. Like, dude,
Like literally
I've dated two girls that were well, actually both of them were 5 foot. So basically the same thing. Like they're they're tiny little humans, dude. Like
so
where the idea of putting it on them is unfathomable.
sad, man. It's so fucked up,
I
dude.
mean, beating up a girl at all is unfathomable, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking 105, like I could pick them up and hold them. They could sit in my hand
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Like I could hold them. I could be like, here, just sit here.
Just-
You know, like have a seat. You know? Oh, look at you.
Oh Lord. Yeah, they're and it's so sad. So yeah, when you think about a case like that and then the Mackenzie case, you're like, you know, that's abuse. And there's
Yeah.
different degrees of abuse, right? I'm not going to say that they all looks the same or they all have to behave the same or they're all the same degree, but when you see that it's it does make you question something. It does make you question. And it's interesting that what they concluded at the end was that they were both, it's just the cycle. And that you're right. It's mainly just a relationship you don't need to be in. And man, these people, so
Mm-mm.
many people stay in relationships like this. I don't understand it. It's not fun. I don't I don't what is the point?
It's the least fun thing on earth.
It's so much, it's actually a lot of work to like
Oh
be
yeah.
that miserable. Do you know? Like you have to like tell yourself, I want to be this unhappy. And
Dude, and whenever anybody is like, whenever anybody's like, dude, so how am I gonna know? You know, how do I know when I've got like the right girl or like the right guy? I'm like,
right,
easy. I'm like, I could literally answer that question with one word.
yeah,
It's like, if someone asks you, how would you describe your relationship? The answer should be easy. Like,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Because if you're not into them, it's not going to be easy, you
right,
know?
right,
And if
right.
you're into them and like, but you fight all the time, it's not going to be easy. If you're super into them and also it's just easy, like you don't fuck with each other about anything, you guys do it, like that's the answer. The answer is easy,
No.
you
And,
know?
I feel like there's this idea where it's like, you have to fight for love, right? We're raised, it's like, you don't give up, you don't fight. And it's like, okay, you don't give up with things that are outside of your control, illness, financial struggles, loss, tragic loss. These are the difficult things that you go through together and all this stuff. But you don't go through and say, "Well, I'm going to stick it through because I don't give up." Abuse, like you don't do like
Yeah.
or a difficult or someone that disrespects you, whether it's name calling or in any other way. That's not like, and I think a lot of people don't understand that difference where they think like, oh, because they're so attracted, it's all hormonal. They're so attracted to this person, and then they think you have to like fight for whatever that is. And I'm just like, that's just a lot of work. It's not like you said, it's not, and it shouldn't be like that. That's not sustainable long term.
Mm-mm.
It's like a crash diet. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable.
Dude, it's honestly, it's like people should approach their relationships from a perspective of like action outcome early on, or actually always, where it's like, okay, so I don't love this thing, but if I confront them about this, what's the outcome? Like, it's always like weigh it out. Like, is it worth making an issue out of it? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the threshold for make an issue out of it should be pretty fucking high. You know, like it shouldn't be some low, dumb thing. Now, at the same time, like we were talking about yesterday, like, oh, hey, like, I'm going to sleep over at my ex-girlfriend's house or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you talking
Like,
about?
what are you? Yeah, exactly. Well, I think also some people thrive on that. Like some people don't feel like they can be in a relationship that's stable, that they always need that conflict resolution, conflict resolution, conflict resolution to feel that whether it's attention or a sense of like I use this term loosely in this situation, but purpose in the relationship, right? Because when there's a conflict and then you resolve it, there's some sort of like, you get this, I think people get this like, oh, there's meaning to this. We resolved something. We're this, I'm part of something. Whereas maybe something that's more stable, that's not as dramatic, you don't have these ups and downs so much, it can make you feel like, well, this is boring, right? It's boring. Like why do I want to stay? That's just
If
boring.
if e- easy is boring, then that's gonna be it for that. Like, yeah, those are dude, I'm like choppy on my side. Do I look choppy to you? Or am I smooth? Oh, you're
Oh
frozen out
no.
too. I think our connection just got a little. I think it's clean now.
Okay,
Oh, no. Hang on.
yeah.
I think it's getting okay now. Okay, now
Yeah,
it's cleaned up.
awesome.
But yeah, like yeah, there we go.
Okay.
But yeah, those are makeup sex people, which
Yeah,
I've never
exactly.
understood at all.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But
I've
I
never
think
understood it. Like I don't understand that concept at all. Where it's like,
we live in a world
so you
that
fight and then that's how you make, like, that shit's weird to me. Like that's always been a super bizarre concept to me where I'm like,
yeah, but they say makeup sex is the hottest sex, and I'm just like, is it though?
why?
I don't either. I have no idea. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
If I'm mad at you, I don't want you all up in my fucking
That's
shit.
what
You know
I'm
what I mean?
saying. That's what
Yeah. You know, like that doesn't, like, honestly, this shit makes no sense to me.
like, it's one thing if you have sexual tension, like what we were talking about yesterday, like, if
Yeah.
you disagree with someone, but you haven't been with them, but you still find them attractive, like, that's sexual
Yeah,
tension.
yeah.
That I can
That's
understand.
super different.
Yeah, that's different. But if you've been with someone over and over and they're just
You're
annoying,
mad at them?
pissed off, like, I don't yeah, exactly. It's just go away for a minute. Like I need to not be looking at you.
Yeah, I guess.
But I think it's part of that like dopamine response. Like people like that hot cold, hot cold, hot cold. I mean, there's so many examples of that in movies and music. Because if you think of a movie, right? There's no movie that just shows like a happy, like just sustainable. Like that's just there,
Well, yeah, there's no plot arc.
there's
Yeah.
like, okay, so you guys are just happy? Like that sucks, you know?
Yeah.
But like, no, there has to be the chase and then the hot and the cold, and then someone was, oh, it was a bet, that's why, and then she finds out, and then there's all
Yeah,
these,
yeah.
and then which in reality, those are awful situations. You don't want to
Yeah.
be with anyone like that. That's terrible.
You won me in a poker game? I didn't want you to know.
I know.
You know, like,
Different now. I've
yeah.
changed. Like
I didn't think that I was gonna fall in love with you after.
like character flaw? No? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, proceed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like easy should be easy.
Yeah.
There's like I can't see how that choppy thing. I mean,
It's
I don't know though. Like I'm just not wired like that. Like I don't, like, my parents never fought, dude. Like I never saw my parents fight ever.
same. I think when they got in arguments, they just needed space, but there was never that throwing and the yelling and that. And I'm just, that, but there was, I mean, obviously every couple needs, but not that fighting that we're talking about of, crossing boundaries like that I haven't seen that. No, I didn't see that. So but a lot of people like it. It's weird. It's weird. I swear, man, people are just need help. A lot of people need help.
It would never. I mean, it would never work for me. I mean, because like every relationship that I had before, like we fought a lot. Now that is definitely because I was. I mean, I gave them plenty of reason to be upset. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's no like there's. They would have been weird if they weren't upset.
That would be a bigger red flag. Like, hold on.
I mean, if like, because if we're in this kind of weird limbo together, but not really, and I hang out with you Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're boyfriend, girlfriend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I go out and then try to bring girls home and you kind of know, and I never answer my phone. Like, that would be bizarre if you weren't upset about that. But that's not like, you're not going to fucking marry that person.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You're like, for me at least, I just felt like I was in if you're in like a college town, especially, you're like in this fishbowl where you can't get away from them anyway. And so it's like, even if you're like, okay, I know it's super unhealthy for me to hang out with her, but on Friday, I'm going to run into her at some bar. She's going to look really good. If I don't talk to her, I'm going to have to watch her get hit on and then go home with some other guy. That sounds fucking awful.
Yeah.
So I would almost rather just say, fuck it. I know I don't like, I'll just hang out with her. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't want to, but
that's like literally like, that's the equation. That's the equation. And it's obviously not a healthy basis for a relationship, but I mean, I have so many stories of just insane shit that happened as a result of stuff like that. Like I had this girl that I dated for a very long time on and off. So she cheated on me when we were like 3 months into I was really into her. And then she cheated on me and we broke up. And then I kind of had her around for like years. And I never had a shred of guilt doing exactly what I just laid out. You know, I'm bored on Monday. I'll go to her house. We'll eat popcorn, watch movies, whatever. And after, you know, the time off and I came back, all she wanted was to be together with me for years. Right. And I just could never let go of what had happened. So like, I would just hang out with her Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I would go do whatever. She caught me with other girls so many times that it's like, by the end, I felt like I apologized to her, like about maybe like 2 years after it was like really, really over. Like I actually was like, man, that's like,
do you think
I felt guilty?
Like resentment where it was like kind of payback?
No, I just think I wanted to do whatever I wanted. Like I was in college, you know, and there's like, you know, it's all around. So I just did whatever I wanted. And then, but at the same, and yeah, I felt no obligation to like, be like,
you're a better person than I am, because when I got cheated on, you know, you're smarter than me. Cause I was also in college. I went back, I got back with him. I took him back, but then was just resentful. And I did like a lot of petty shit. So you're a better person than I am. At least you were just like, you know, and you weren't doing it from a petty place or a resentful place. I mean, but my situation was different. He was there was a lot more to it, so I was very resentful. But
did you dangle other dudes in front of him to piss him off though?
No. He was kind of messed up. He liked seeing me get attention from guys.
He liked it?
Yes.
Like if you would have been, you know,
not like doing something with them, but he was telling me that I should do like try and like do bikini modeling, or he wanted me to have, like, he liked the idea that men wanted me.
Well, that's two different things though, because if he knows you belong to him and then you do bikini modeling,
right?
Like that's equivalent to him driving his, Lamborghini down Main Street.
Right.
What I'm talking about is like, if you were out at a place, some guy starts hitting on you and you just start, looking him in the eyes and being like, oh my God, like, he's not going to fucking like that. I can guarantee you that.
Probably not. No. And I unfortunately didn't do that. So,
well, probably fortunately for your sake, I would imagine.
Yeah. Actually, fortunately.
Yeah. There's not a lot of upside in that, but like, so that, like, I remember that, like, that girl figured out that she could play that card with me like early. And then I just, became immune to it. And I remember this, I can't remember exactly how this played out. Like, so much shit happened with this girl, but this one time I remember I had actually successfully like abstained from, hooking up with her for like a couple months.
Yeah.
And, she always knew that's the card that she could play, is trick me into going home with her. And then, whatever. And like, so I remember, so I had so another girl that she knew that I kind of had a thing with was at the same party as us. And she stormed out of there. Like, she was furious. And I hadn't hooked up with her in a while. So I was kind of like, fuck it. Just, I'm going to let her go.
Right.
She called me and I remember her being like, you need to come to my house right now. I was like, I'm not coming to your fucking house. And she's like, if you don't, I'm going to fuck another guy. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh. And she on the street started saying to these guys walking by, she's like, do you want to fuck me? I knew it was a bluff, like, obviously. I was just like, I just remember being like, what am I doing, dude? Like,
honestly,
what am I doing? She's playing that. And then I remember, so I ended up not because of that, but going to her house to make sure she didn't end up getting like gang raped, you know? So I went to her house and then she was in bed and she tried to pull that was the one time where I successfully like looked at her in the nude and was like, I'm not doing this. Like, and I just bounced. Like, it was like, she'd played that card so many times that I was just totally fucking immune to it. I'm like, I'm not doing this with you anymore.
Dude, I feel like that type of female, the one that would just say things like that. I feel like if she told someone just to piss you off, do you want to fuck me? And then they do anything, it would be so easy for her to be like, well, I didn't really want to do that. And then switch it on whoever poor guy that was.
She wouldn't have done that. Like, well, this is a different era, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, she wouldn't have actually done it. That's the whole point. It's like,
yeah.
You know,
She was just
like if she was gonna bang a dude to make me mad, it would have been someone that she knew that she met at the bar. You know, like she's not gonna randomly just grab some fucking creep off the street and go do it. Like,
I hope not. Damn.
No.
But yeah, but I mean, people now they do crazy stuff for.
They just do that on Tinder. They're all.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It's wild. People will do all sorts of things. I don't understand it. I don't understand the thought process of certain behaviors. Like, and it's one thing when you're in college, you're naive, you're still figuring things out, you know, you're underdeveloped. I get it. You're an idiot. Everyone's a fucking idiot in college. It's fine. But when you hit 30s, 40s, 50s, or it's just like, for fuck's sake, man, like you gotta grow up at some point. Like, you got to figure out your shit at some point. Like, you can't be behaving like this. And females do it, males do it. Like, some people just they can't grow out of it. They're addicted to it. They're addicted to the game. It's the game. It's the chase. It's the who has the power in the relationship. A lot of people feel like if they don't have the power, they don't want to be a part of it. It freaks them out.
Most of the time when they have the power, they feel like they don't like the person. So you have that's the easiest way to flip is whoever cares less wins.
Yep.
But like, I wonder about that a lot, actually, in terms of like, it's like, okay, so like as an example, someone's on TikTok all day long, you know that their attention span gets shorter. There are all these like kind of, you know, depending on what kind of content they're watching, consequences. And I think about that a lot as it relates to like people who frequent the dating sites a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of how that ends up manifesting for their relationships, because it's like, you know, things get just a little bit dicey. You know, you have just like a phone book of people where you're like, I could just start over, you know, like tomorrow I could just start over. And like,
it's, there was this video on TikTok I saw, and she was this woman talking about her husband. And she goes, well, you know, my husband called me, he's on a trip, and he said, babe, I'm going to stay over at this girl's house that I met on TikTok. And I told him, okay, babe, because, you know, I'm a wifey of the year, but let's not forget when the time comes, and it could be my turn for me to go and hang out with whoever I want to hang out. So all it is, it's just, again,
it's just an open relationship.
Yeah. Right? An open relationship, but it wasn't because it was because she wanted to play the card that she could go do whatever she wants next. Not that she was actually okay with it. Like, it didn't seem like in the video that she was actually okay with it. It just seemed like, all right, you gonna go do this, then wait until it's this type of game that people are playing. I don't understand it.
It's a dangerous game for the dude to get into, because she's gonna have a hell of a lot more options to, you know, have random, you know, whatever than the dude is. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's on, like, for girls, it's literally, I mean,
it's a lot of options.
It's unlimited options.
Yeah.
I think about that with gay dudes, man. Like, gay dudes have that shit on lockdown, because on both sides of the equation, it's both these creep sexual deviants all the time, you know? Like there are all these apps that are like, like on porn sites, they advertise them to you all the time. They're like, because I frequent them 18 times a day. But like, where they're like,
you and I have something in common.
There it is, yeah, because you know what I mean. Like, anytime you're on the porn sites, it's like, hook up today. It's like this is not Tinder for dating, for you to have someone come over and bang.
Yeah.
And
in your area.
Yeah, in your area, exactly. I guarantee you, if you pulled the demographics on that, it's 99.7% dudes. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
every once in a while you get some girl on there who is not anybody you would want to bring. Because honestly, like if it's a girl that needs it like that, she's probably in a relationship with a dude and they facilitate it through Reddit. You know what I mean? Like where they meet other couples like that.
Right.
You know, like there's no girl that's like, fuck, I'm starving. It's Tuesday. I'm fucking starving. And they got no calls to make. They have to get on one of these fucking random apps. Like that's not a thing, dude. Like the girls have options, dude. Like
Dude, and for there are options where you don't even have to show yourself. Feet Finder is a thing that I found out the other day, and it's like OnlyFans, but just your feet. Like it's just feet, and anyone could do it, but mainly it's all women on there. You just post your pictures on Feet Finder, and it's just this massive gallery of feet, which is a lot of people are into apparently.
I have learned that as well. You know, not from myself, third hand, where it's like these like
and it's weird that I know the name of the website because I was like, I could make some money.
I'm saying. Seriously, like if people want to pay you for a picture of your feet,
it's like saying, check out this elbow. Like
you would think it would be. Like honestly, would that change it for you? If like it's like, all right, obviously, if someone's like, here, I'm going to send you $400 for a picture of your wrist, you're like, all right,
yeah, knock yourself out.
Yeah. So if they say the same thing about your feet, but they're going to get it and they're going to be jerking off to your feet, like this. Yeah, right. Who cares?
I don't care. Listen, people jerk off to things all the time. People are jerking off to people on YouTube.
Of course.
Like I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but I'm well aware that my Instagram pictures, my YouTube videos, there is a demographic of dudes jerking off. It is what it is.
Let's see what kind of jerk off material you have on your Instagram.
Oh
no. We'll assess the level of
Oh no. All right. So is this the new game, jerk or
yeah,
not?
We're gonna see like what's the likelihood that people are getting down to your pictures.
Lord.
Very high is the answer.
Oh yeah.
High probability.
High probability.
Oh yeah, dude. You got creeps on this one all day. You got creeps on this one all day.
I think my workout.
For sure. Oh yeah, you got creeps on this one 100%.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, if someone wants to pay you to take a picture of your feet all day, dude. All day.
Yeah. I've had some inquiries. And I was like, you know what?
How much? How much do they want to pay?
All right, I sent one out, and it was a very specific one. And this guy was like, "I just want the soles," and I was.
Do they want your face? Do you have to have your face in it?
No, just the sole of my foot, like just the bottom of my foot. That's it. It was, and I got $50 for it.
Damn, dude.
One picture.
Just for the bottom of your foot.
The bottom of my foot. And I was like, yeah, you can have it. Here you go. Knock yourself
Dude,
out.
honestly, like those foot fetish guys probably have their success rate for getting pics has to be so high compared to like regularly wired guys. You know, like most guys are like, I really want to see you in a G-string. And you're like, fuck you. And they're like, no, I want to see your foot then. You're all, okay, I'll send you my fucking foot.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, but you want to see my foot? I'm like, dude, like, and I'm not going to be the type of person that's like, oh my God, well, that's, that's sex. I don't look at it as sex. I don't think that's sex work. I think that's someone.
It's not.
It's like,
your foot.
That's what it's literally like, send me a picture of your elbow. You want my earlobe? You can have it. Like, what do you want?
you, sir, have some kind of like sexual wiring disorder.
And it's a which is a fetish, but that's not my problem. Like I was watching like the weirdest addictions, and there's this guy who's addicted to balloons. He has just these massive balloons, and he said he was like, I jerk off to them.
Balloons.
To balloons. He has this thing. He loves it. He likes how the texture, and he expands it so he can like. I assume.
Does he pretend it's like a girl's ass or something? Like I don't understand.
He's married. I don't get it. He's married. This was on like the TLC's weirdest addictions.
Balloons.
Yeah.
I could see, I guess, if he's somehow connecting it to like some girl's tits or ass or something, but like, if it's just like, plastic balloon on its own, that's really bizarre.
It's well, people have these. So I'm like, what is the balloon a sex worker? No, it's just a balloon. Like,
Balloon.
you know what I mean? I'm like, that's not on me, yo. That's on you. Like,
Why do you think that foot one is so common?
I don't know. I don't know. You know what's crazy? I just found out the other day about the Chinese wrapping. Have you looked into that?
Uh-uh.
It's a look up Chinese foot wrapping. It's a
Oh,
practice
binding, you mean?
binding. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Well, that's the same thing.
Barbaric, dude.
It's insane.
You're
I
talking
just
about the old school shit where they would break
yeah,
their feet,
they
right?
break their feet
Yeah,
and they wrap it
yeah.
around to make it look small and pointy,
Barbaric.
and it's like it fits in your hand. Like, it's wild.
You want to know what that probably was? A fucking emperor with a foot fetish.
That's
Honestly,
what it was, and they said it originated because there was a dancer who did it, and she had really small feet, and the emperor loved it. He was so into it, and these poor women for like for like decades.
he made the whole country do it,
Yeah, yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Can you?
Because you wanted to
I mean,
be
I guess you
small.
could look at it like this: like the concubines. They're like, so do they have it? I mean, obviously, getting your feet broken and all that, but like afterwards, when it's like, all right, it's your job to be the sexual pleasure outlet of the emperor. It's like, all right, so what does he want? They're like, he just wants to jerk off on your feet. It's like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's not the worst, you know.
not the worst.
It's like it's better than somebody who's got some fucking, he wants to like tie your hands to your legs and
That's
you know,
true.
like some like
Yeah,
violent, depraved fucking
yeah.
emperor gets whatever he wants
But these girls died. Like, that's the thing. A lot of these women died
from the
because
foot binding.
yeah,
Why?
because it created clots and infections.
Mm,
Because
yeah,
your foot, the circulation got cut off. I mean, you're breaking your feet,
yeah.
wrapping them around, and so a lot of them couldn't walk. A lot of
Ugh.
them died. A lot of them had infections. A lot of them had to get amputations. Like, it was no joke. It was a serious thing, but it was worth it. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, that's what it's worth it, because as it was like a purpose, like a feminine purpose. And I mean,
So
poor,
bizarre.
yeah, I mean, the soles of those feet were not. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen those, look it up. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean,
Uh,
like the direction that things have gone now, I think about that. I'm like, I wonder if like people in 50 years will think that like fake tits and are like really weird. It's like a weird concept, or if that'll just be normal. You know what I mean?
dude, in 50 years, I can't imagine what it's going to be next. You know,
They'll probably be able to just genetically like
it
wire them to have absolutely perfect everything in advance. You know what I mean?
the Brazilian booty lifts and
Yeah.
enhancements, like, it's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be insane. I
It's
think
so funny. I learned what a BBL was maybe like a year ago.
yeah.
Like Gabrielle, she's like BBL, and I was like, "What the fuck's a BBL?" And she told me, and then so now I could pick them out every time, dude. I'm like, you know, I had no idea. I had no idea what it was.
They look bionic. It's like these little skinny legs and then like a diaper butt.
Yeah,
I don't know. From a guy's, is it attractive, Jesse? From a guy's
depends on the legs. I mean, the ass looks good, but it depends. Like if they've got like to your point, if like they don't work out, you know, like if
yeah,
they like if they're like if it's like if it's a person who's kind of got that like skinny fat thing going on where they're like, you know, they're like kind of the way that they maintain their weight is they just don't eat. And then they have like they have a BBL. It's like,
it
you
looks
know,
off. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are angles that they look real good from, but like when they're standing, it's kind of like, huh.
When they're mobile.
Yeah. You know, like if I
Yeah.
would imagine if they were like on all fours on a bed, it probably looks amazing. But like when
Yeah.
they're standing up, it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it looks not right, you
It
know?
is it is weird, but, like, I don't know, I always think that even more like an athletic butt looks nicer, like,
100% sure.
you were looking at Mackenzie's ass earlier, she's got a nice ass, like, it's not
Fuck
a
yeah.
crazy, like, Kardashian booty, but it's a
No.
nice fit, like, thick butt, it's nice, you know?
A girl, like a fit girl like her is always way more sexually attractive to dudes, at least anybody that I know, than
Right.
like a super, super skinny girl or like a super weird BBL sexually enhanced,
Yeah,
like, or surgically enhanced girl. Like that's what you want. You want like a girl that's got some like meat on her, but she's like toned and
right,
works out. Like that's ideal, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
healthy.
J-Lo, man.
Yeah.
They don't make them like J-Lo.
Doesn't even make sense, dude. Every time I see her in anything, every time I Google to see how old she is, just to make sure. I'm like, I think she's like 54, and you're like, what? That just
Insane. Fucking
makes no
insane.
sense.
Yeah.
I think she's
Yeah.
actually, if I remember correctly, the last time I looked it up, I think she might even be. Or wait, hang on. I think she might even be 56.
I don't know. I'm not
53. I take that back. She's 50. She's 53.
dude,
53.
I don't understand it. Like so many it's hard. It's hard as a female who you get cycles and it's tough like to keep a certain thing, going and or diet or regimen. I'm sure money helps. You have trainers, you have nutritionists, all this stuff. But damn, it's a lot of work, especially in your 50s. It's fucking insane. It's like it's I give her a lot of credit. She has a lot of discipline. Whatever
It's
she's
a lot
doing.
of work for anybody who keeps it together. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't happen by happenstance. If
Yeah.
you're, you
Yeah.
just, but I mean, it's like there's benefit, like what it takes to do it. There's benefit on both sides of it. You feel good all the time. If you train and eat good, you feel really good and you look really good.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Exactly. That's what it is. Yeah. It's just that I feel like it's tough for a lot of like your everyday people to get into that. I mean, I'm reading right now about how how intense sugar addictions are because I'm
like that's my bugaboo
I'm
right there.
struggling really hard. I'm trying to quit right now, and I'm reading a book on sugar addictions and how it connects to the same like
Pleasure center as cocaine.
Yes, thank you. Pleasure centers as cocaine. I was really
Mhm.
struggling there.
I knew where you were going.
I didn't have any sugar today. That's the problem. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to actually do a lifestyle change. And it's just like, oh man, like it's insane. It's you really like throughout the day, like today is day 4 for me where I'm like, no sugar, no carbs, like nothing, like all this anything refined carbs. So I'm eating fruit, vegetables, all that stuff. And my diet's usually really good, but when I was just overseas and I ate a shit ton of pastries and it just pushed me really hard into that sugar addiction. I was having pastries. Oh, I mean, I was in France. So I was like, it was so delicious. And I'm a little bit of an idiot because I didn't think, okay, well, you spent 2.5 weeks stuffing your face with just sugar. You're going to get back. You're going to have a really tough time. And I'm really struggling. And it's just like I feel so tired without it. And I feel tired with it. It's a mess. It's a mess trying to like get my shit together right now. It's kicking my ass a little bit.
Yeah. How I know that I'm like a hopeless sugar addict is actually very straightforward. It's like, so if I go on vacation, we'll take, like, I have an Adderall prescription. I don't take it every day, but
Right.
like, if I go on vacation, like we'll take it and we'll drink all day and we'll party all night, whatever. Right. And so during those periods, like whether it's 2 days or 7 days, like I'm not hungry very much. Like, so I eat because it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure humans are supposed to eat. So I'll just like eat throughout the day, but I'm not hungry for anything. And every time when I get back and so I stop taking it, obviously, as soon as I'm like, I will eat an amount of candy and popsicles and shit the first day that is absurd, like makes no sense, where I'm like, dude, like, how am I still, like, I just ate 6 popsicles. Like, why am I, because my body's just screaming, like, give me sugar, because I haven't eaten any in it, like, however long. And because I was on Adderall, I didn't even notice it, And
That's
then so it's like,
with Adderall, dude. Like I remember when I used to take it, it would just be gone. I wouldn't even think about food. And then when I'd stop, I was like, this is what hungry feels like. Like I forgot what it feels like to be hungry. And you're just going. And you're like, oh my God, I was starving and I didn't even know it. So yeah. And then it's of course sugar. It's like the first thing.
It's crazy how, like, your body fluctuates like great. Like so if I go and then take it the first day, the day when I wake up, I look like a fucking Adonis. I'm like, good God.
Dude, I know.
I want to melt a fucking stick of butter on myself right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like appreciating on another level. Yeah.
And then when I come back, like if I eat for a day, so I'll eat, I'll just eat like carbs and shit. And then I'll go to jits and people are like, bro, you look fucking jacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? But I learned recently that, like, so what bodybuilders do before they like go on stage is they will abstain completely from everything. And then they'll carbo load right before, and their muscles go. And so I know that's what's happening. Is like, because I party, so I sucked everything out, and then I'll eat, and then so my muscles just like it's exactly what bodybuilders strategically do to look as jacked as possible.
Dude, I didn't know that was even a thing. Holy
Yeah.
crap. That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't know that that's how they I just assumed it was all that tanner they put on.
Well, that too.
I was like, all right, let's hose you down and see what you actually look like.
Yeah, that too.
No, that's insane.
So
Yeah.
you do like, so for your workouts, what you just did, like you do boxing and just lift and stuff?
So yeah, so before my travels, I was going to an MMA gym as well, but because it's quite expensive and I was traveling a lot and it's a membership that's just, it's still expensive. So I paused that for now, but for the most part now what it is my mornings, I usually work out in the mornings. I'm not an evening person. I can't. I'm a very morning and black coffee, get into the gym. I like to skip rope. I skip rope and I warm up for like 20 minutes and then I hit the bag and I try to do 45 minutes on the bag. So I'll just go, I'll put music and I'll go and I'll take my rests when I can. Sometimes I'll do rounds, sometimes not, but then I'll weight lift and then also swimming. I love swimming. So
swimming is excellent for the
helping
body.
you with conditioning a lot, especially when you're boxing. It's a lot of shoulders.
Yeah.
So, and
like here, and then they just hand you. Oh man,
yeah,
that was boxing training is.
I love boxing, man.
It's a good time. I would go like I was, when I was training my hardest, I was working still. And so I would be like, my office was right down the street. And then, so I would go and I would train, I'd train for an hour and a half and then I would take a shower and go back. But like, I was good. And so they trained me like I was like, I mean, dude, I would be carrying buckets of water, doing sprints in the alleyway. And like I'd puke and shit. And I would like, I didn't know how to bridge the conversation. Like, okay, dude, like you're fucking killing me, dude. Like this, there's no reason for me to be vomiting on my lunch break. Dude.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's and that was your coach? That's insane.
They had high hopes for me. But I was like, dude.
Did you compete?
I did smokers and stuff.
Nice. Holy crap.
Like, like that, but that's honestly why, that's one of the reasons I stopped, is because they wanted me to like keep, let's keep, but I had a full-time job. I'm like, I can't.
You're like,
I'm 26 years old. Like
you're not gonna you're not trying to compete in that level.
In hindsight, I actually wasn't too old now that I've kind of seen how things have played out for a lot of people. But like, as far as I was concerned, I was too old.
Do you think if you felt the way you feel now, you would have went for it? Like seeing that maybe you weren't too old, or is it not? I
don't know. I mean, I don't know. It would have just depended on circumstance. Like if I would have gone in, if I would have gone in there against opponent, because I fucking annihilated all of the people that I fought, but they were not people that were like in my smokers, but they weren't people that I would measure up against. Like, oh, I guess this means I'm like actually good. It's like I would run through these guys and be like, and they were like, they were hobbyists that thought they were good, and I would just starch them. And then it was like, but that's why they were training me so hard, is because like they're looking and they're like, this shit's not normal, dude. Like people don't just knock out everyone that they fucking, that they do these smokers with. But I'm like, I don't know. Like we were just like, it was like we were having two different conversations. It's like, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe, dude, being a pro fighter is a fucking tough life, man.
No, I couldn't. I could not. Like, I love boxing. I love getting in that. And people are like, oh, dude, do you think you're trained getting into amateur fights? Just amateur. I'm like, nope, I don't. It's not for me. That's a tough mindset. It's tough on your body. It's tough on your mental. It's not for anyone, man. It's really not. It's really not. That's why when you see people like that go global, like on a UFC scale, Bellator scale, stuff like that, it's insane. These people are completely different mindset, which I have a question for you regarding Conor McGregor and Islam Makhachev.
Okay.
If Conor, do you think Conor will take that fight? If
they offered it to him?
They offered it to him.
100%.
100%.
1000%.
Do you think do you think he would go into it thinking he's going to win, or do you think he is he's regardless of what he feels on the inside, he's gonna Connor, how he carries himself. He's always gonna show that he's got this.
For
He's
sure.
never,
Yeah.
never gonna show the public.
Connor, absolutely. If he, like, I was actually just thinking about this. If Connor comes into this Chandler fight genuinely, like, deeply motivated, he has a great camp and he starches Chandler.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to convince him there's a person on earth that he can't beat, you know, like, and, what's that?
Is that including Khabib?
Oh yeah, for sure. Including Khabib. But I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to be able to,
Right.
But like, yeah, I mean, he will take the Makhachev fight in a heartbeat. I think it's a horrendous matchup for him, obviously.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I think, you know, he'd take it for sure.
Do you think he has a chance of beating
Chandler?
No, I think he has a chance of beating Chandler.
Of course.
Do. Yeah. Do you think if he beats Chandler and moves on to Islam, he has a chance of beating Islam?
I mean, everybody's got a chance. I think if Islam goes out there and does not even fucking engage in any stand up and just dives for Connor's legs, that's the thing, is like, as far as I'm concerned, the fight breakdown is identical to how I kind of talked about a John Jones versus Tyson Fury matchup, which is like, stand up at its core is just tag. Like, you are trying, you know, if you think about it, you're like,
you're
moving away and you're trying to touch them without them touching you.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. It's like, and then once you get good at predicting and you're faster at moving, like, you can put a little bit more heat on them, but ultimately you're just trying to touch them without them touching you.
Yeah.
And for like Tyson Fury against John Jones, in order for him to win, he has to not only touch you, he has to hit you hard enough that you're unconscious. Where if John Jones can get close enough to touch him anywhere, if he can grab a hold of his ankle over, like, he's going to take that ankle, he's going to wrestle up, he's going to take you down, and you're finished. And that is basically exactly what would happen with Makhachev and Connor. It's like, you know, I think Connor has a better chance against Makhachev than Tyson Fury does against John Jones, but the equation is very similar. I mean, like, dude, Makhachev, if he gets on top of Connor, that is, I mean, it's like, it's good. It's going to go bad. Yeah. I have a question for you.
Sure.
How does a smoke like you end up an MMA fan with a YouTube channel talking about it?
A smoke like me. I appreciate that. I'll take my wins. Very good. But so how did I start my channel? Is your question?
And like, you know, I know that in order to do a YouTube channel about anything, you have to really love the thing that you talk about.
Yes.
And you chose mixed martial arts as one of the main things that you talk about.
Yeah, I chose.
What was the genesis and then the evolution to where that's what you chose to talk about?
Well, I chose it over boxing, although I love to box.
But either of them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had people, once I started my MMA channel, and they're like, well, talk about boxing. Although I love boxing, I wasn't inspired, and it didn't help me to watch boxing the way MMA helped me.
You didn't get tied to the stories like you did with
I didn't get tied to the stories. I didn't, it's going to sound kind of funny, but I took the training when I would watch, and it was honestly Khabib Nurmagomedov that got me so pulled into it. And I liked Connor. I liked Connor's energy. I liked that he was kind of like a badass. He didn't give a shit. He didn't care what anyone thought. He like went for it.
I love Khabib. And I mean, I love Connor and I love Khabib.
Yeah. But because
Ali, his manager, Ali, is my dude.
Yeah. I was following them for a while, but when I went through a difficult time in my life and I really focused on my discipline, it was in 2019. I went completely sober. I went completely, I wasn't messing around, wasn't dating, nothing. And I just wanted to focus on work and my training. And I just would sit and watch Khabib and watch their camps and watch how they trained in Dagestan and watch his discipline with his religion. And I love it.
So the real question then is, during that period, would you have remained not dating if Khabib was your trainer and was like, sup, dude?
Third wife, second wife, which one?
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's not married.
I don't know. If he told
I don't think they do a lot of side pieces in his
they
culture.
don't, but they marry more than once. I'm like, which one am I? Second,
That's true.
third?
That's
Let's
true.
go.
I mean, actually, I don't know. Do they? Is that like
Yeah,
his?
yeah, yeah. His dad had more than one wife.
I'm gonna be straight. I don't think that is unnatural. To be honest with you,
I don't think it's a problem either. I don't. And
I
I'm
think it actually works. You have to have the right kind of dude, and they
yes.
have to select the wives not just on like, ooh, I want that one and I want that one. Like they're
No.
like the because the women are gonna have to be like sister wives.
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. But a lot of people don't understand also where this originates from, right? It's and it's not just about being able to sleep with because a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's, that's degrading for a woman. You get to sleep with one and one night like, oh, they're just objects." And it's not that. If anything, like you put them in a house, you take care of them financially, you are able to take care of their children financially. It becomes a community in these cultures. And it's so interesting because when you think a lot of people now just think about how the world is now. When the world is the way it is now very recently, when you think about tribes and people getting killed and your men going off to war, say I'm married and my husband goes off to war and I'm living in, a tent or whatever in back in the day and I'm with my tribe, half of our husbands are gone. Who's going to take care of me? I
mhm.
have kids. I need food. I don't know. I need protection from wild animals and other men and other tribes and other clans. Who's going to take care of me? I can't do it. I can't. So marrying more than one was really actually
The most selfless and respectful thing you could ever
it
do.
was important. It was so important to keep your tribe going, to keep your women taken care of. And a lot of them, and you have to, and I was doing research about this because I was really fascinated with this topic actually. And I saw that you have to treat these wives all equally. So
Mhm.
all of them get the same amount of time with you. All of them get the same amount of financial support from you. It's not you can't just put them off on you don't care about this one or that one. There are very specific rules that go into it, and it's not just like, well, I got four wives and I'm chilling. It's and also 4 wives is a lot of work, dude. One wife is a lot of work. Like like there are times of the month where I don't even want to be around myself. I'm like, can I detach? Can I can I
Mhm.
do women go through cycles and stuff, which is exhausting to be around, to be honest. It's not a joke. It's serious. It's a lot of work. So to have that support and it's these communities are built around that and then they actually grow close and it becomes this where this it takes a village to raise a child situation where more recently it's not very common and you have all these more nuclear houses. So anyway, not to get too far off of the topic, but yeah, his dad had more than one wife, but they still treat them with respect and
Of course.
these women don't have a problem with it too. Like a lot of
No.
people think like, are they being tricked? Are they held hostage? They're happy to. They're fine with it. They feel good, sometimes.
As long like the way I've thought about this a lot. I would be an excellent husband of multiple wives as long as it was like within a certain number. Like 15, fuck that. That's no fucking way. Like there's no way. But like 2 or 3, because
Yeah,
the way that you really would have to do it for it to be like the best for everyone involved is like the way that you make your wife feel like she's the most beautiful thing in the world to you and to anyone else, and you really like put a lot of effort into like pumping up their confidence,
right.
like that's your role. It's like making them feel very confident. They know that it's just, you just do that with them together and it bonds them where it's like, you do the exact same thing,
Yeah,
except it's like you guys instead of you,
yeah,
and then like whatever solo time you have with them, you tell
right,
them, oh, it's always,
right,
I always look forward to our time together. It's our
right.
little secret, with both
Yeah,
of them. But like,
and
but like,
yeah,
they're happy. Like they're not like jealous.
no.
They're a single unit,
Exactly, exactly, and they help each other. They help each other raising the kids. They help each other to get through problems. Like it's very interesting, and it's not for everyone. It's not doesn't
Mm-mm,
mean that everyone is happy to do it or don't have jealousy issues because I'm sure it happens. They're still human, but it's not unnatural. And I
mm-mm.
think we starting to get to this age where I was on oh yeah I was on Instagram the other day and I saw this woman and she's talking with a realtor and she's got one man here and one man here. And she's like, these are my husbands. And so the realtor was asking her, "Oh, are you guys staying in one bedroom?" And she's like,
Okay,
"Oh,
that's weird.
yeah." But she said she wants 4 bedrooms because she wants to add a third because she's going to be dating. And I was like, I don't understand. Now, this is where I don't understand. What is the show me a purpose for that? Like, I understand the purposes
It's
that
like Kalila always tried to do that. Kalila, you know, like Bobby Lee Kalila, like
yeah, 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 yeah.
she always did it. And like, dude, that for her, it's some kind of dominance power thing. Like that's not like for dudes, it's biology. I can get 3 girls pregnant a day. A
Yeah.
girl can get pregnant once a year.
Mhm.
It's like this isn't rocket science. Why this makes sense for it to, in the opposite way, and it makes no fucking sense the other way.
Yeah.
You know, but again, Kalila would never date a guy like me. You know, like she dates guys like Bobby. You know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. And it's and then you look into also like the paternity thing. Like look at how many you are not the fathers like we watch when we're scrolling, and it's like, and this is when they were in like one relationship at a time, and sure they're messing around, but imagine having multiple husbands, and then it's just it's wild. It's too much. And this is where like I understand, I personally, I really do believe I'm a feminist, but I'm more old school. I don't believe in, and this is like how Bill Burr says he's a feminist. I identify with that type of feminist that he says he is, because I'm like, I'm right there with you, Bill. But I I think women are now pushing it too far, where they're trying to, it's like now going back into that game playing where like, well, men get to do this, so I get to do this too. Well, why? Well, it's because men, well, why did men do it? Like let's think about this. Let's break it down. Let's see what it means and all this stuff. But none of that matters anymore. It's all about just getting one over on the other, and it's just,
Yeah.
I'm like, no one's gonna win like this. It's just chaos. It's madness, you
And
know?
that stuff is like that kind of stuff with the, like the men and the women and the way that they compare, like the girls compare themselves to men.
Right.
It's like, well, there are only like 50 female CEOs. And I'm like, Jesus, okay, this is not fucking rocket science. Okay. Like you act like we've had this like thriving industrial modern society for 2,000 years. Okay.
Right.
That's not the case. We had the
Exactly.
industrial revolution like 110 years ago or whatever. And it's like, that's a handful of generations of people. And bottom line, prior to that, you had hunter gatherer. Women took care of the kids. Women took care of whatever was going on here. Men are faster and stronger. So they went out and they hunted animals that you were going to eat. Okay. And as that kind of develops into the next phase of, it's like hunting and gathering means go out and physically labor yourself to bring home money to go get food. We're still in hunter gatherer phase. Then you get to a more developed society where being strong doesn't matter anymore, and women are as smart as guys. And so then it's like, oh, well, I mean, we could go to work, right? So then they start going to work. And like, this isn't that long ago, you know? Like, so like, and women started in these entry level positions because they're just now going into the office and starting to work. And then now, like, I look at it the opposite. It's like, look at, dude, now there are like 50 girls that are CEOs of these major companies. Like, you're just in this process of evolution in how we structure ourselves in society. And it's like, just calm the fuck down, you know?
Exactly.
Just fucking calm down.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with like, if people want to do it this way or that way or whatever,
Right.
like, just relax, dude. No one's like, and the pay gap, get the fuck
Oh
out of here.
my God, I can't with that one.
Mind numbing.
That one. Honestly, it's just I don't know what the holdup is. I would love to be a housewife. I mean, I don't understand what the issue is. Like, it's either I take care of my family and I invest in them, and I invest in raising them, and I invest in making sure there is structure at home, and so they have a sense of structure growing up. And ideally, I'm with someone who can support, or I'm leaving my family and letting the electronics raise them, letting all this stuff raise them, letting the rest of society raise them in whatever way they will. And I'm out here making money for someone else. Unless I have my own business. When I have my own business, hopefully I can run it from what I'm doing and
Selling
still be
feet
around.
pictures.
Selling souls, sir.
Yeah, selling the soles of your feet for $50 a pop.
Because I am a classy lady. Only the souls of my feet.
Yeah. No faces, soles of feet, $50.
50 a pop. That's it.
Yeah.
But so and that's, I'm like, why is that like shameful to do now? Why is that looked down on? Like, it is the most honorable thing that you could do for your family. And it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be fun. But
Mm-mm.
I'm sure like men have a difficult time working all the time, having a boss tell you what to do, having stress, having numbers you need to hit, or you're going to lose your job. Then who's going to, like, none of it is fun. It's not supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be like what you want all the time.
Everything is challenging no matter what you do. That's the way it is. That's the human experience. And that is why people who get, and so like so obviously you've seen plenty of celebrities where they get to a point that everyone thinks like, oh my God, if I got to there, I'd be so happy. And then and you find out they have like clinical depression. Right.
Right.
And
Right.
like, I know a guy who is a very good friend of mine who is wealthy, sold their company, $10 million, like wealthy, young, and he can't sleep. Like he has such heavy anxiety, he can't sleep. And my theory on that is I think that what that like stress that people kind of, like live with in general comes from not like, it comes from ultimately food and shelter insecurity, where it's like, okay, so you have money right now. And even if you have like, even if you have a couple $100,000 in the bank, you still are like, fuck, well, what if what I'm doing right now started doing blah, 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 and I didn't have this income, like where you say a thing like that to somebody like who's never had money, they're like, so what's your situation? You're like, well, I've got $175,000 here. I've got like $85,000 over here. In retirement, I have a couple 100,000, I've got whatever. And like, to them, they would be like, Jesus, I would be so fucking relaxed. And you're like, yeah, no, it's not like, cause you're like, it's not enough to retire on. There's an easy scenario where like this could happen, that could happen. And then I'm just dipping into all this and it's all going. So you still feel that it's not the same as being like broke stress, but you're still stressed. And it comes from, what do you need the money for? You're not thinking about like, oh, what if I couldn't buy another car? You're thinking about like, what if I couldn't buy fucking food and couldn't pay my taxes and couldn't pay. So like, and I think that like when humans all of a sudden have such a boatload of dough where there is no scenario where they would ever want for food or shelter, it breaks their brain. Like, I think it's like, you're actually like, that experience is like built into the human experience. And when there's no way you're going to struggle, that like people just implode.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the struggle is part of the human experience, is my theory anyway.
It has to be. It has to be. We all live like kings and queens. Dude, I can just walk outside. I can go to McDonald's. I can go to Walmart. I can go to Target, get anything I want, food, anything. That wasn't that was only a queens or kings or just very high up. And you can get fruit and you can get bread and you can get meats and you can get this. And then we have carriages or these cars, right? They take you.
Yeah, people just deliver it to you.
You don't even have to leave. Exactly. And I'm like, this only happened very recently. We haven't evolved to understand how to live in this. And so we have all this, that's why we have all this anxiety and depression and stuff, because things have become far more easy for us. And we're not dealing with the built-in struggles that we, in a way, have evolved to learn to survive. And it's so your brain, like you said, just goes into a state of, what the hell is this? I'm not sure. What do I do now? I think we have way too much time to think, honestly.
Yeah, it's true.
Way too much time to think. But honestly, like I when I was talking earlier about the whole, how women now, or certain people are looking down or frowning upon other women who are wanting to stay at home or have kids or stuff. In one of my videos, I bring this up because I feel like the society we live in has made it difficult. Like, in one of my videos a while ago, it was a Bill Burr video, and people took what I said the wrong way, and I got a lot of backlash. Actually, I don't know why I did, but I feel like people were very opinionated. But I'll tell you what I said. It was about having kids, and I was saying that I'm in my late 20s. I'm not going to have kids anytime soon. So, I haven't found a partner, and I'm not the type of person that's just going to have kids just to have them. I need to have the right partner, because these are people that are going to be out in the world. I'm against just popping out kids. And so what am I going to do? Like, I don't have a partner. I'm not really meeting people like that. Okay. So what do we do? And I said, in a few years, if it doesn't happen, I'll just freeze my eggs. The idea of freezing my eggs was this complete backlash that I got, where it was
Why?
like, I don't know. And I think people thought that I was saying that I didn't want kids or that they weren't important. And it was the idea
Freezing
because
your eggs is the opposite of kids are not important.
that's what I was saying. And I'm like, so so it was the weirdest thing that I countered since I've started like the channel. And I was like, so you're telling me I should just pop them out with whoever's available and then hope, that I
It
don't
doesn't make
screw
any
up
sense.
along the way. And it was like, unfortunately, because we spent so much time with our educations and you put kids further and for women, further and further, the opportunities now have become less and less as women get older, and that's just how it is. Whereas men maybe don't struggle with that problem as much. We're on a clock. So, but it was interesting that it was like I'm well aware that in the advances in our society has made it more difficult for women to have kids and start families. But then hopefully an option like freezing will help in that situation. But there was this response of that's irresponsible, and you're just adding to the problem of these women who don't want to have kids anytime soon. And I'm like, I don't know, what do you want me to do?
You're just like, what I said was, I'm not just gonna let some fucking loser put a kid in me that's not gonna be in my life.
Exactly. Exactly. And I was like,
Yeah.
I would rather wait for the right person who's
Yeah.
not screwed up, hopefully, you know?
Well, when you find the one you think is not screwed up, you can just run him by me and I'll take a look and I'll be like,
But yeah, so to go back to your question, we kind of got sidetracked a little bit. When I was watching Khabib and the
look at you.
Dagestani.
You can do tangents and come back to the point. I do that too. Excellent work. Yeah.
That's the ADD, sir. We both
Yes.
have it. That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it. Yeah.
People always comment on that. They're like, dude, it's crazy. You go off on these tangents, but you always bring it back. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
always, always. It's
yeah,
been in the back of my head. I was like, we got to get back to this.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So you're like, to get back to that, yes, I would let Khabib put a baby in me 100%.
but it was I wanted to be Habib. I know it sounds weird, but I wanted to be him. I wanted that discipline. I wanted that strength. I wanted his faith. I wanted to be him. I've never met someone with so much purpose in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was something I was missing in mine. And if I'm being frank, still kind of struggle to find out what it really is. What is this purpose? But they have it down packed
Mm-hmm.
with no issue, like with full faith. They have it down packed.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. Like to me, I was like, this is amazing. And then I got so pulled in. And then I started loving mixed martial arts, started looking into, well, what is judo and what is jiu-jitsu and what is this and where does this originate from? And it opened up this world to me that in the years before in passing, and I would be like, oh, this dude is on top of that dude, lol. You know what I mean? And I just walk by and that's it. And it made me have this like deep appreciation. And then, because I was doing boxing too, I already felt like, I was drawn to it more. So, and I was like, it was during COVID, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not seeing anyone. We're all in these houses. We're all in front of these screens. And I was like, well, let me just, just hit record and see what happens. And yeah, I got really, I'm lucky. The community is amazing. The MMA community is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. They're my favorite. The MMA and comedy communities.
They're very intertwined too.
They're
Like a
fantastic.
Rogan. Like
Oh,
Rogan intertwined them.
yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Rogan, I'll be honest, Rogan was a big part of it for me too, because I really, I got really into him 2016 or so, but I kind of followed along as his show progressed, which was amazing. But
Yeah, I had a rough go in 2017 where I was just trapped in a state where I didn't know anyone, and Anyways, neither here nor there. But watching his show, like literally, like I was so lonely. None of my friends were. I'd moved to the state, and I didn't know fucking anyone.
Yeah.
It's like you can hang out with your family, but it's not really. It's not the same as hanging out with your boys.
No.
And so I would like watch that show and just be like, all right, this is how I get my fix of like kicking it with my buddies that are all 3 states over right now.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan is very talented in that aspect where he set this, standard for podcasts in a way that, there were podcasts before, but sometimes they're educational or this, but to feel like you were hanging out, like you said, like with the boys or with this or with that, and you just feel like this bond that you create. And then Joey, like, Uncle Joey, I didn't know him before Joe Rogan. And in my videos to this day, I will say, cause he always said this, he'd be like, you understand me, Joe Rogan? He always said it.
You understand me, Joe Rogan?
Understand me, Joe Rogan. You know what I mean? Cocksucker, it's so funny. I loved it. And I would just listen to him and I feel like I was hanging out with them. And he was so great with that. So great with it. It was so important.
Yeah. He's hilarious.
Yeah. Joey.
He's hilarious.
I still keep up with it.
In the interest of anyone ever watching this, I'm going to cut us off. I'm going to just stop recording and then we can keep wrapping out. But just so it's an hour and 40 minutes on the channel. But this was excellent. We should definitely do this again. You should move to Austin. We should just do a show.
I just might.
This is where all the creators, all the martial artists and the content creators live.
That would be awesome. Oh, thank you. I had a blast. This was amazing. This is my first type of like podcast streaming situation. So I was a little nervous. Yeah, it was my first time.
Well, you did excellent.
Thank you so much. I was freaking my dog. I was like, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah. Hey, look at this, Mackenzie Dern. I fucking slapped my dog around too.
You want to see abuse, Mackenzie? Come here. I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah. I'm doing a stream with Guru tomorrow. It's gonna be really fun.
That's awesome. No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. All right, I'm gonna cut this off and then we can keep chatting. Hold on. And thank you guys for watching.